Hello Sioux Falls and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of July. My name is Jason Bieber, Senior Planner with the Planning and Development Services Department with the City of Sioux Falls. And join me as we've had always for the past 6 months or so is Kurt Johnson, our Planning Commission Chair, to really talk through some of these items that we have for this month's agenda. So
thank you, Jason. Yeah, absolutely. As you provided the agenda, and as I look through some of these items, you see a lot of excitement, especially with a few of these key projects. But we're going to roll right into one that I noticed is at Dolly Farms, and I know that's a high visibility area for the city. And tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, you know, this is one of these great things. If you haven't been out to Dolly Farms lately, I know it was really rolling and steamrolling, you know, in the 2008, and then it kind of slowed down a lot with a lot of different developments with the crash and all that stuff of 2008. But really over the last 5 years, they got that street in roundabout. There's really been a lot of activity out there. And this is another example of a nice development that's going out there. So this is going just to the east and south of the Active Generations building that's going to be built out there off of 18th and Foss.
Okay.
And yep, and then this is another Lloyd project that's going to go out there. So right along 18th and Foss, they're actually going to put a four-story building with retail on the bottom and then 3 stories of apartments, really to match the Carlton that's just to the south. And then along the north of that, they'll have some more apartments and then some townhomes. And as you know, it really gets more people out there, and then that's the ability to bring more restaurants and more services. So it's kind of another exciting project to really get a lot more units out there and almost really finish up all the vacant property east of Foss Avenue and behind Target there.
That's excellent because, yes, exactly, you hit the nail on the head. The commercial will come as the other residential and live work and some of those things fill in there, and this is going to be exciting to see evolve.
Yeah, it's going to be a great development, and if you've been out there, it's going to have the access to the bike trails, and you'll be right there by all of the retail services. And it really, this will provide that good transition from those large retail like Target and the movie theater to the apartments that we talk about, to the senior citizen facility of Active Generation. That's one story. And then on the other side of that is twin homes on the other side of Foss. And then on the other side of that is existing single family. So it really gives us kind of that height going down as we get to those single family houses. So it's a good transition for that aspect.
Very, very nice. Kind of switching gears, or at least switching to the other side of town next.
Yeah.
We're looking at some additional development, rezoning from ag into other developable zonings here on the southwest side. Why don't you tell us about this next one?
Yeah, so this is the area that we had Prairie Meadows. So this was an area that was long outside of city limits, a bunch of rural houses out there right at the southeast corner of 41st and Ellis. And as the city had worked with them over, gosh, it's probably been 15 years, to try and get them to annex in, to really get them to be part of the city and really be able to utilize some of our services. We finally got them to, most of the houses, to come into the city limits. Well, as you know, when they come in from the county, they come in with the rezoning, or the zoning district in the county, and so they were zoned ag in the county. Well, a lot of these parcels are all single family houses. So as a city, then we're just going in and rezoning it for them to get them what they would be classified in the city. So
very good. Our next one looks like we're going from kind of a denser residential into kind of a live-work combination. Why don't you tell us about this next one on North Garfield?
Yeah, so this is just to the south of the Arena Motel, and you know, on that frontage on Roosevelt, we've got a lot of high-end commercial or higher commercial traffic. And then just to the south of the Arena Motel, there's an existing vacant lot that the applicant's looking to do kind of an office on the first level and then some apartments on the second story. And really should provide that good transition from the Arena Motel to this office, and then there's single family to the south there. So really it'll get us one of those infill lots filled in that's been vacant for a while, and will provide that good transition from the commercial to residential.
So Jason, it looks like our next one here, we're going to be rezoning from a commercial use to a light industrial. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so this is just south of Russell Street on North Louise Avenue, so kind of west of the Denny Sanford Premier Center. But this is a vacant lot, and if you've been west of North Louise Avenue, there's a lot of industrial over there. So we've got a request to go to industrial on this. This one's going to be a little bit trickier, so we're going to have to kind of work with the applicant to do industrial. We're going to have to be really cognizant of screening if it's going to have outdoor storage, because obviously we want it to be screened from our big corridor that we spent a lot of money in Russell Street going to the Premier Center, and then also some single family houses to the south. So we'll be meeting with the applicant here and really see, hey, can you provide some additional elements to maybe make it fit in a little bit better with the area? And if that's not something they're looking to do, then maybe this isn't the best kind of place for industrial. So this is one we got to kind of maybe work out a little bit more than just kind of a consent agenda rezoning. So
very good. Yeah, those kind of items, we definitely want to have them up for discussion, and this is definitely where public input with the applicants, with planning staff, it all gels when that happens. So
this will definitely be one that we'll be doing a neighborhood meeting after we meet with the applicant to make sure that those residents are know what's going on out there and can really give us maybe some of their concerns ahead of time. So
very good. Our next item, don't want to lead the witness, but it looks like we may be heading to conservation. Is that just geographically needed? Yeah,
so out here, you know, we've done this development. We've done some rezonings out in here. This is Empire Homes development, but this is as you continue to go through a lot of these different developments, they continue to evolve, and when you continue to get down through the process and you get into your development engineering and your construction plans, is really where you hone down those drainage ways and detention ponds. And so the applicant's at that stage, and this is really an area that he needs for drainage. There's wetlands in there, and so he's really got the area that it's going to go. So we're going to zone it to CN conservation, so that can be protected as wetlands and for drainage. So
sure, that makes total sense, and look forward to hearing more about that one. Our next item, I know this is an up-and-coming development in Sioux Falls, the Willow's Edge area. Be interested to hear what's going on with this next one.
Yeah, so this is, if you haven't been out there, and well, there's going to be a lot of road construction. I don't know if they've started yet on 6 Mile and Arrowhead Parkway because they're realigning that specific intersection. Exactly. So this will be just to the west of this. But out there is really blown up. I mean, they've done a lot of construction out there. And really a lot of the frontage on Arrowhead Parkway out here is zone C4 for retail commercial. It's maybe just a little bit too many acres of retail that they need. So as we know, some of those supportive districts that are great with retail are apartments, because as we talked about with Dolly Farm, you get people out there, that's when they can start supporting the retail uses of it. So the applicant's just looking at kind of constructing a future apartment there to get some more people out in there. So
very good. Our next item, this is a kind of a existing light industrial area, but it looks like we're going to take it to perhaps another level out on North Cliff, or off of North Cliff. Why don't you tell us about this next one?
So these are one of these, this is a development just east of Granite Valley. So this wasn't in city limits about a month ago. So we actually had this identified as Tier 3 within our growth area plan. But as we know and as we talk about, a lot of times those tier maps, they need to be updated every year because things change. And as the applicant came in to submit an annexation petition, you know, we do sewer studies out there to make sure, obviously we're not going to annex somebody in if it can't be sewered. Well, what we found is this west, so many acres can be sewered, so we annexed that property in, and now we're looking to do, they're looking to rezone it for another industrial area out there, which is much needed, and what we have for the future land use map in that area. So,
well, that's excellent, and look forward to hearing more about that one. Looks like our final item that we're going to discuss today, we're going to be moving from an ag zoning into some office and combined use out on the west side. These always catch my interest as a west sider myself. Why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so this is part of Windmill Ridge. So Doug Allen's purchased kind of quite a bit of property on the southwest corner of 12th and Ellis, and as we know, we did that sewer project, or we're working on the sewer project to bring a new force main around the north side of Cherry Lake, and then to the south, so the developers can start taking it south to open up a bunch more ground out there. And this is really one of the things with that is the developer purchased this land, is looking to rezone it now because it's going to be sewerable, and as we know, this will have frontage on 12th Street and kind of back right in there off a major intersection. So zoning it to office, or maybe even possibly live work, we're still trying to talk to the applicant about that. His plan is to do some high-end storage units out there. which obviously everybody needs storage units, it seems like, in this specific area. So, and then the other option would be if we could get him to zone a live work, just in case he could possibly do an apartment if something would change. So we're still kind of working with him on that to see if maybe he wants to go that route to give himself a little bit more flexibility in the end. But
well, very good. I mean, overall, this is an exciting lineup coming into this month's meetings.
Yeah, and you know this, Kurt. I mean, you've done this for 8 years or so. I mean, this is quite a few items actually for July. You know, typically we slow down a little bit in the summer months because people have already gotten everything ready at the beginning of the year, and then we always seem to get a big push at the end of the year because getting ready for next year. But these are quite a bit of items here, and actually quite a bit of new subdivisions and large tracts of land being ready to be developed again. So it's a pretty amazing thing that Sioux Falls is doing, so we're staying busy. So.
Well, that's great, because definitely there seems to be still a shortage of housing, and when you hear about that kind of development,
yeah,
it's always music to the ears of folks in town. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, Kurt. And
thank you.
Stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we're going to be joined by Dustin Powers, the Business Development Coordinator with the City of Sioux Falls, and talk about some exciting plan that they're working on, the downtown plan for 2035. So stay tuned.
Hey, this is Seth with the City of Sioux Falls Housing Division. I'm here today with today's Home Maintenance Minute to talk to you about your air conditioner and how to take care of it. So one thing that I like to do once a year is to make sure, first and foremost, that your disconnect is turned off. All air conditioners should have a disconnect on the outside as well as on the panel. So you want to turn the breaker off at the panel, turn your disconnect off outside, and then you know there's no electricity in the unit. Okay, then if you look on the top, there's 4 bolts that hold this fan assembly on. If you take those bolts out, lift this assembly out and off and over to the side a little bit, just take a simple garden hose and go in around the fins on the inside of the unit and spray water from the inside out. And so if you look on the outside of an air conditioning unit, there are fins. It's much like a radiator in a car, and they get clogged. They get clogged with cottonwood, trees, debris, and leaves and dirt and dust. And simply going in from the inside and pushing that material out with water will clean that up, and it'll keep your air conditioner running much longer. Thanks for being with me today with today's Home Maintenance Minute.
Welcome back to Planning Preview. For the second half of the show, I'm joined by Dustin Powers, the Business Development Coordinator with the City of Sioux Falls. We're going to talk a little bit about the 2035 downtown plan that the department is looking at updating. Can you maybe start with us a little bit and just kind of talk about why we're updating it, you know, maybe how often we do it, and maybe why do we need to update it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we look at creating a new downtown plan, new downtown vision about every 10 years. And so our previous plan was written about 9 years ago and goes to the year 2025. So we're not quite there to the end of the life of that TIF, but we know that it'll take us about 12 months here to kind of go through a planning process to write the new vision. And so really what we're trying to create is a new vision looking out to 2035. So looking at that 12 to 13 year period. Really why we're doing it now is because we've seen a significant amount of growth and development in downtown. Over the next couple years, we're going to see over $400 million of new development happening in downtown, along with some public investments that are continuing to expand the growth of downtown, but also the activity center that downtown is. And so as we kind of continue to see that, we want to really capture that momentum and be able to plan for the future. So looking at, you know, what the community wants to see, what are their aspirations for the future downtown is really our intent with the 2035 downtown plan.
And I know you guys, you know, you haven't just started this, you've been working on it for, you know, 6 months or so, and yourself and then Adam Roach and then Maddie Schwabach, our planning intern, have really been putting a lot of time and effort into it. And I know, maybe talk about some of the meetings that you guys have had, because I know I know that you've had some public engagement meetings, but maybe talk about some of those and what you learned from those in kind of the first 6 months of the plan.
Yeah, so one of the first things that we did with this planning process is we established an advisory committee. So we did that back in February. It's a 16-member advisory committee made up of property owners, residents, business owners, as well as some organizations that are associated with downtown Sioux Falls, and really kind of creating a broad base of individuals that can bring different expertise and experience to our planning effort here. And so what we met with them several times over until about May, and really in that time period what they helped us do was really establish what our public engagement process was going to look like. Following that, what we did is we actually hosted our very first public engagement opportunity, which was a public workshop. We did that on May 19th. It was at the downtown library. We had roughly 75 people attend the 2 sessions. We were able to provide some background feedback again of why we're doing it, the schedule of the downtown planning effort, as well as we're able to gather their feedback at that. And so some of the things that we saw and really what we were trying to gather is what should we be talking about as we're talking about the downtown plan. So we talked a lot about growth and development. We talked about transportation and connectivity throughout downtown, but also to the adjacent neighborhoods. We talked about the amenities and services that should be provided in downtown, things from parks to biking opportunities to just other engagement opportunities or experiences for individuals. So again, really just harnessing some of those general thoughts and ideas, which will help lead us into our future public engagement pieces that we'll have coming up here soon. So.
Yeah, and I know one of the big things with downtown is we've seen it really grow to the north, obviously, with the Levitt and then Jacobson Plaza, and then now Sharappa's investment and also the Sioux Steel investment on that side. But one of the things I think people are wondering with this downtown plan, are we going to expand the boundaries maybe east or west or south? Can you talk a little bit about maybe what you envision if those boundaries are going to expand, or if you think it's going to be in the general rectangle that we kind of have right now, I guess?
Yeah, anytime we do one of these planning efforts, we do look at what the boundaries are, and typically when we look at the study area is really what we're looking at is, we look at a study area that's bigger than the current downtown boundaries, because, again, whether we're expanding the boundaries or not, just connectivity between those adjacent neighborhoods to downtown is important, so we always look at an expanded area. But one of the things that we've seen, again, like you said, with the growth and development we're seeing is there is strong interest to see those, at least growth and development occur outside of those existing boundaries, and so it's important for us to know that so we can evaluate whether it is worth considering expanding those boundaries and bringing more of that property into downtown. So our study area goes really all the way to Cliff on the east side. That's where we've seen a lot more of the activity around downtown. Like you said, we've kind of really maxed out to the north a little bit, with Falls Park kind of being that northern boundary. And then we are, with the core neighborhoods of the All Saints to the neighborhood to the south and the Cathedral District to the west, we're kind of confined by those. We do have the Whittier neighborhood on the east as well, but some commercial corridors there are definitely some opportunities to consider. And so one of the exercises that was actually done at the public workshop was getting public's feedback on that, and we'll still continue to try to get that feedback. So as we continue to bring these goals and recommendations and visioning efforts forward, we'll be able to see if it makes sense for us to actually span those boundaries.
Okay, and that's great to get that input and really see what the committees and things want to do with downtown and where you go into that next to 2035. One of the things I know that the city just sent on a press release, I believe last Friday, was some committees that you kind of separated, maybe some of the, I think roughly 9 focus areas, maybe more than that, that you guys are looking to get some members of the community on, downtown, anybody who really wants to be involved or invested in the downtown area. To be part of some of these committees for these different 9 focus areas. Can you maybe run through a couple of those focus areas and what and how people can become involved with those type of areas, or just get involved in general? Yeah,
absolutely. So we, based on all the really community engagement we've received so far, we've basically took kind of the 9 top topics that we really see a lot of discussion happening around, and also know that those are important topics that we should consider and plan for in the downtown planning effort. So some of those are like arts, culture, and entertainment, which has been a big one for downtown Sioux Falls for the last 20 years with Sculpture Walk, along with the Arc of Dreams, adding more murals downtown, all of those different types of things, but also looking at it from an entertainment perspective too, and how do we look at other entertainment options in downtown. So that group will focus kind of on those topics. So with all of these work groups, they're the groups that or these topics are what kind of came to light, and so what we want to do is establish some resident work groups that the groups are focused solely on that topic, and so really reviewing all aspects of that topic and then bringing forward some goals and recommendations for each topic. We have 9 different topics, so arts, culture, and entertainment is one, growth and development will be one, so that'll be one that'll talk a little bit maybe about the growth of the boundaries, but also just general development we want to see in downtown Sioux Falls. We also have parking will be a big one, safety as we continue to grow as a downtown, create a more dense environment. We know that there's new elements of safety that need to be attributed to, and so we'll take a look at that through one of the work groups. And then transportation, connectivity, and mobility. Really, how do we connect throughout downtown, but how do we connect to those adjacent neighborhoods again? And again, if we continue to grow upward, but also outward, how do we continue to promote a connected environment that's really promotes all modes of transportation, whether that be walkability or biking or again, the vehicular traffic. So
like these 9 committees then will, as you indicated, will kind of find some findings or goals that they're setting for their specific area of downtown. And then is that something then they will present to the 16 advisory committee and kind of give them an idea of here's what we looked at and here's what we think we need to do to really take downtown to the next level by 2035?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we intend to do is meet with each of the work groups 3 to 4 times over the next couple months. That'll provide us the ability to facilitate those discussions and ultimately come up with the goals and recommendations for that topic from that group. And then we will take all of those recommendations from all 9 of those work groups and bring them back to our advisory committee. And jointly we'll be also looking at all the other engagement that we're receiving as well, and take all of that into consideration as we continue to work towards a final plan. So to really get involved with those work groups, we have a project page right now at siouxfalls.org/downtown, and there's an opportunity there for anyone to sign up for those work groups, and there's a little survey for them to fill out to kind of show us why they're interested with those groups, and we hope to get as many people involved with all of those work groups, and we have good participation on all the topics. So.
Yep, that sounds great. And then there's probably going to be some additional times where you're going to have some public open houses for people that maybe don't have the time to put into meeting a lot with a work group, but maybe just want to come, once a month or once every couple months and just kind of give you guys some ideas on what they would like to see. I'm assuming you'll still have some of those as part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the currently on the website, same webpage, siouxfalls.org/downtown. We also have a survey out there. Okay. It's actually an interactive engagement website, so you're able to do a short survey, but it's an interactive mapping system, so you can actually drop comments on the map, so specifically to locations downtown, and provide us feedback that way, and that'll be actually running through the summer months here, so that opportunity is available to anyone right now and can continue to fill that out over the next couple months. We'll be working through those work groups, and then really around the end of August we'll be wrapping up a lot of the public engagement. We're also, during this time period, we've hired a market consultant to do a market analysis for the study area, so downtown and that growth area as well, to really tell us, what they're seeing in the market and what the market could handle for types of growth in the future. And then following August, we'll really be able to summarize what the market study said, what our public engagement said, and so our goal would be to have another larger public workshop for everyone to attend in September. And so that'll really kind of wrap up really the public engagement major visioning aspect of this, and provide us some opportunity to then start drafting formal goals and recommendations recommendations that will lead to a draft of a plan. That'll go through the remainder of the year, and we'll still have some other larger public engagement opportunities for individuals to provide comments as we get through the drafts of the plan as well.
So then I'm assuming the ultimate goal would be 2023 to maybe present this to the council, the downtown plan, and informational to the council, and then they will actually adopt it, correct, as a resolution? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
We would bring forward an informational meeting in probably Q1 of 2023. That'll be the final draft of the plan. We would likely bring that in front of the Planning Commission and City Council for consideration for approval. Yeah.
So I think it's great then to let people know that there's still plenty of time for them to get involved if they want to, with either a subcommittee if they want to get that involved with a specific aspect of it, or if they just want to provide some general comments as we go through the rest of this year. Essentially, you'll still have time for comments on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Through that website, they'll be able to find all of the updates, as we'll keep that updated throughout the process, and there'll be different opportunities. And again, between now and basically the adoption of the plan, there'll be opportunities for engagement. So over the next 8 months or so, there'll be plenty of opportunities for people to participate if they want to. So.
Well, thanks for coming on, Dustin. I know you guys have put a ton of work into it and done some early morning meetings for people and done some late night meetings for other people, just so you can kind of get a wide variety of comments from everybody, and hopefully making yourselves available as you have with the website and these different meeting times, really to anybody that wants to provide comments, and to be able to provide those comments and really hopefully get us a downtown plan that'll be for the next 10 or 15 years. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting to be able to establish a vision and try to implement that over the next decade. We've seen it happen since we drafted the previous plan 9 years ago, and we'd like to see the similar successes we've seen from that plan.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see. Like you said, you drafted the one 9 years ago. How far we've come from 9 years ago to see how far we're going to come from 10 years from now. So it'll be interesting if we make that same leap, how big and great downtown's going to be. So we appreciate your efforts in that and everybody that's working on that. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, and thanks for joining us for Planning Preview for the month of July. The Planning Commission meeting is on July 6th at 6 o'clock at the Carnegie Town Hall. And as always, we welcome you to come on any of the items that we talked about in the first half of this Planning Preview. And also, we do have that time for general public input at the end of the meeting, where you can talk for 5 minutes about anything that you feel you wanted to talk about. So thanks, Sioux Falls, for joining us, and take care.